What we really want to do is better connect schools and employers so that young people and parents understand the breadth of the roles you can have here in Northern Ireland. The council has the unique position of working with businesses in the borough to understand the challenges they're facing. And obviously one of the key challenges they're facing at present is the skills and the talent pipeline. Through COVID, schools that used to engage with businesses couldn't. So what this programme really tries to do for the schools and for the students is to make it simple for them to find a really meaningful work placement.
We've got companies involved that represent sectors such as retail, hospitality, banking, business, engineering. This project has involved events and different sessions with careers teachers to help think about how the pain points and challenges can be addressed through this work experience project.
Coming out of COVID, the events industry lost a lot of good people. We really want to bring a lot of new people into the industry and sort of getting that spark.
It's really helped me being in media in school and really enjoying it. I've learned a lot about the things I was already interested in. It's really broad, but it's fantastic.
Across the whole sort of engineering and technical industries, we really are finding at the minute that it's quite difficult to get enough people coming in to do the amount of work that's out there. I think it's a really good way of getting some of the local school kids just to understand what's available and what's out there for them.
I want to go into some type of mechanical engineering, and they offered this engineering, so I just wanted to go see how it would actually be.
Most of the students come in on day one and they think all we do is count money, and by the time they leave us, they realise that it's cyber analyst, fraud people, data risk, legal. So there is a job in Lloyds Banking Group for most career pathways that students would be interested in.
I came in expecting to see how they would do their work. They put us into different situations, made us come up with opportunities, give us case studies.
It's just really made me more focused on wanting to be better at doing business.
This is an option. I would come back here if I had the option to in later life, because it's a good place to be.
It's brilliant for our team to welcome students down and for the stores to get involved. The opportunities in retail and hospitality are really endless.
Yeah, this gave me some insight into what retail is like.
We often face an awful lot of barriers in terms of trying to create connections for our young people. And as our young people prepare to transition out of school, hopefully those connections going forward we'll be able to develop further. And I think it's been great for the businesses involved as well to see the real value our young people can bring to their businesses.
We were at the toy shop there today and we were stacking up toys in the middle, the top and the bottom and where they go.
And I was showing someone about the baby toys.
So they've had a tour of the building, how we set up function rooms, that type of thing, and then set everything up for themselves for their lunch. They'll get the experience of clearing away just exactly the things that our function team would do.
So there's a few of our pupils that were very set on what they wanted to do, but from the experience today, a few of them have expressed that they would like to go into employment, which is a massive success.
I've been a chef making a couple of teas and coffees and hot chocolate. I like it so far.
James Cain Foundation are delighted to be working with Antrim Newtownabbey Borough Council and Work Plus in this project. Seeing young people getting insights into retail and training and opportunities that they might not otherwise get.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ruth Harper from Work Plus and I will be hosting today's webinar. We are delighted to be working alongside Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough Council as we help businesses engage with work experience for schools in the Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough area. I'm just going to give a very quick overview about Work Plus and then we'll hear from Jill Murray from Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough Council. I'm also joined today by Grania Longman from Lloyds Banking Group and Gordon Cross from Revolution Productions, and they're going to be talking about how they deliver work experience, why they think it's important, and then we'll be finishing up by talking about the programme and just logistically how it's going to run this year. Just a wee bit of housekeeping. You can see us, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but we can't see you. However, you can communicate with us via the chat function, and we would love this webinar to be as interactive as possible. So please send through your questions and we will make time to answer them throughout the webinar, or if there's some questions that come through at the very end, we'll make time for that there. Just a very quick introduction to WorkPlus and who we are. WorkPlus is a membership organisation that helps businesses connect with the skills system. What does that look like? Well, we were started by an engineer, so we're very into our visual representation. So you have a visual representation of what that looks like on the screen. So we sort of see ourselves in the middle. On the right-hand side, you have the employers, which is what we would say is the demand side. They want to address their skills gaps. They want to attract the best talent. They want to have the best people in their organization. And on the left-hand side of that bow tie, you have the supply side. So you have those individuals that are looking for a role that really fits their skills and fits their abilities. And essentially, WorkPlus want to get involved with anything that better connects employers with the talent that is out there. So we are that connector, if you like, in the middle of that bow tie. And that's why we wanted to be involved in this programme. That's why for the last year or two, we've been working alongside Antrim Newtownabbey so that we can assist with connecting businesses to their future talent in a structured way that opens up opportunities and makes meaningful connections. So WorkPlus work across all the early talent pathways you can see on the screen there. And really, it's our mission to help employers better engage with these early talent pathways to find people that are the best fit for organisations. So at the heart of WorkPlus, we're really a network of businesses. One thing we do each year is host different events. One of those events we call Grow Your Own Future Talent. And this really came from employers that we work with, realising they need to think differently about how they engage with talent. And a lot of people here, I'm sure, can identify with the statistic that 1 in every 3 vacancies are a result of skill shortage vacancies. So people don't have the right skills or qualifications for jobs. So employers are really having to think differently about how they draw people into their organisation and how they can essentially grow their own. So WorkPlus is a community of like-minded employers gathered together so that they can thrive. It's just myself and Andrew on the team on the call this morning, but we do have a team of 5 who work with our members and help them engage in different areas of early talent. We're actually, well, near the end now of our recruitment campaign for our apprentices. So that's just one example of the types of things that we do for our members. So that's just a very short introduction to us, but you are here to hear more about work experience. So to give us a little bit of the background of how the programme started and how the pilot went last year, I'm just going to hand over to Jill Murray from Antrim Newtownabbey Borough Council to tell us a little bit more. Thanks for joining us, Jill.
Thank you very much, Ruth. So good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for taking your time out of your very busy days to attend this webinar. So just to introduce myself, I'm Jill Murray and I work with Stephen Norris, who's also on the call, and we work in the economic development team for Antrim Newtownabbey Borough Council. So as part of our roles, we have working relationships with approximately 5,000 businesses throughout the borough, which is no small task. And we spend a lot of our time trying to communicate with the businesses and understand what their needs are. So some common challenges that have been being faced by businesses, things like difficulty securing a talent pipeline for their future workforce. And also we're hearing people say that they're struggling to get an awareness of their business, what they do amongst local children and job seekers, to understand what the path is into their organisation. So alongside that, in 2023, through our labour market partnership, a schools working group was established, and that consists of in the borough 12 local post-primary schools and 4 SEN schools. So this group was established by the Labour Market Partnership, and that was basically to help us understand as a council how we can support schools around careers, apprenticeships and traineeships. Now, through this subgroup, one major issue that was identified was a real disruption since the pandemic times between the schools and employers relationship. Another one, and I'm sure you'll all relate to this, is time constraints. Both teachers, and the businesses like yourselves, in terms of arranging work placements for their pupils, so whether that be just having the connection in the first place, or actually having the time to develop that into something that would look like a work placement. So, we had stories hearing from the schools that the parents were having to be responsible for finding work placements for their child, which is no small task, as I'm sure any parent will know. And when Stephen and I were out doing some engagement in the schools last year, we were speaking to a child who gave us a story that he wanted to work on the trains, and that was what he sort of a career that he had in his mind. But the only people that his parents knew for him to do work experience was in his mother's beauty salon. So he had to go and do his work experience in his mother's beauty salon, despite wanting this completely different career path. So we saw a real gap there, and we really saw this barrier for the schools to be able to secure these work placements for their pupils. So once we identified this gap, we really saw an opportunity to try and find a way to facilitate this engagement between businesses and schools. And this saw the birth of the work experience programme that we're now looking at today. So we really wanted to explore finding some kind of innovative approach into finding work placement opportunities and how we could help with that. So in late 2023, Work Plus, the fabulous team that they are, came on board with us, and we developed a pilot work experience programme. So at the time, this was the first council-led programme of its kind in Northern Ireland. So we're really, really excited about it. And, it really was putting ourselves out there along with Work Plus to try something different. And really what we were aiming for was to provide this single point of contact for schools, teachers, pupils, parents and businesses to all be able to go to one place, and for the businesses to be able to showcase what they could offer, and for then the schools and the pupils to be able to see what's out there for them using one place. And last year that was an online portal. So the pilot programme was a great success, and that was through the hard work of the team at Work Plus and ourselves. And just some figures to let you hear about. So last year, with 66 employers who engaged in our sessions and webinars, 28 of whom then subsequently offered work placements, and as you saw from the video, they were so valuable, and it was just such a fabulous programme to be part of. There were 91 total placements offered to students in total, and 67 placements taken up. And a real angle of that we didn't expect was that almost half of those places went to SEN pupils, and that was just an additional value to the programme that was just so great to watch. So now recently we got approval to run the programme for a second year. And following, our normal processes, we were really delighted to be partnering with Work Plus again, and to be able to develop this further. So I don't want to steal Ruth's thunder by going on too much and giving any more details away, but I'm just going to pass to Stephen and just see if there's anything I've missed. Stephen, if there's anything that you'd like to add.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Jill, for that overview. Really comprehensive, and I think you've hit all the nails on the head there. Really, the two key drivers behind this for us were about raising awareness of businesses, not just in our patch, because we were doing this primarily for the young people. And I know councils and programmes in Northern Ireland can tend to be very boundary driven and soft boundary driven, and that's not the aim of this. We're trying to maximise the exposure for young people right across our area to all the types of employment opportunities and career pathways that are here in Northern Ireland. And if that takes us into Belfast, or that takes us to Ballymena, or that takes us to wherever, that is absolutely fine with us. So if you're an employer from outside our boundary on the call today, don't panic. That's exactly what we want, and exactly what we want to hear from, and who we want to hear from. And I think that bit about awareness is key, because everybody's time constrained, and I think there is a lack of two-way communication between businesses and schools, and that's probably largely down to that time constraint that Jill mentioned. But it's very much a role we want to try and get into, to expose young people to the breadth of the career opportunities and the roles here, and particularly for those who maybe are under the impression that you have to leave these shores to go and do careers in certain things, and we know that isn't the case. So no, I think you've covered it really well, Jill. Thank you for that, and I look forward to the rest of this morning's webinar.
Great, thank you both so much. It was lovely to hear from you, and we are delighted to be working with you both again. I'm going to ask now for both of our employers that are on the call. I'm going to put them on the hot seat and ask them a few questions now. So first of all, I'll ask you both just to introduce yourselves and say a little bit about your business. So maybe Grania, do you want to kick us off and just tell us about your role and just a wee bit of background to the business, please?
Absolutely, yes. So my name's Grania Longman, and my role within Lloyds Banking Group is the Early Careers Lead for the entire group. So we have offices right across the UK, including New York, Germany, and Cebu and Bangalore. And our main objective then is really to support young people outside of the organisation to gain accessible experiences of work to help them prepare to enter into the workforce, whether that's straight from school, from university, or from that population of young people that are currently in that NEET status, not in education, employment, or training. Now, over last year, 2024, we were able to reach 112,000 young people on our programs, which is a massive achievement in terms of scale and size. But we are an organisation of 65,000 colleagues, and we have over 30 different hub locations across the UK. So we have a massive reach in our communities, and that enables us then to be able to support that number of young people per year.
Great, thank you so much. And Gordon, over to you. Do you want to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your business?
Yes, thank you. My name is Gordon Cross. I'm Director of Revolution Productions. It's a small audiovisual hire and video production company based in Ballyclare. I started the business in 2004, and basically we provide support to the local sector here, events industry, setting up for conferences, award ceremonies. We're the ones providing those sort of large screens, PA systems, and things like that at your events. We also offer production support, so we're providing the cameras and the editing support for live streaming, promotional films, and things like that.
Yeah, you were saying there before we started, you're used to being behind the camera rather than in front of the camera. So sorry for bringing you out today.
You're quite all right.
Thank you both for joining us. Grania, you are no stranger really to work experience. You talked there about the young people that you reached. I also remember having a call with you earlier last year when we were talking about launching the pilot program, and you talked about the great setup there that you have for your work experience programs. Can you give those that are listening just maybe a little bit of insight into the program that you run in Lloyds for work experience?
Absolutely. So we have a multi-layered approach to work experience, and that's to help us reach as many young people as possible. In terms of our work experience program offering, we support young people from as young as age 5 in primary school right up to age 24. If we think about the definition of a young person in the vulnerable category, it would be 18 to 24 as well. So we support right up to undergrad age. We do that through a series of different formats, both in-person work experience, virtual and hybrid. So we will work with schools to deliver work experience in the classroom, tailored to the age range that we have, and we call that our Skills Builder program. And they're often as short as 1 to 2 hours long, very short, impactful sessions to get young people as young as 5 in primary school thinking about the skills that you need in the world of work. And then right up to our almost adult offering for our 16, 14 plus category. That's our in-person experiences in our buildings and also our virtual experience. We do things like once a month we have Lloyds Careers Live, which is a dedicated 1-hour session hosted as a live broadcast and then put onto our YouTube channel. And we often get anywhere from 1,600 to 2,000 people on the live broadcast. 1 hour, first Tuesday of every month, and then the playback reach on YouTube is, right up to 30,000 views. So that allows us to reach young people all over the UK, not just Northern Ireland, but also those young people that live very rural and can't travel to a Lloyds Banking Group building for work experience. So they still get the skills, they still get the network opportunities and the mentoring reach without having to be physically present in our buildings. So our multi-tailored approach ranges from, like I've mentioned, a 1-hour session right up to a 5-day bespoke program. And they focus on not just finance. Surprisingly, most people think Lloyds Banking Group is a bank and all we do is count money and look at numbers all day. We have 300 lawyers, for example, in the group. We have an entire legal and secretariat team. We have data tech and cyber functions. So we have work experience opportunities and micro experiences right across the vast range of roles available in Lloyds Banking Group, just to give young people the opportunity to step into different roles and see what skills match them, so that they can think about opportunities and careers that they may never have considered before.
Great, thank you. So lots going on. It's brilliant to hear about
Super
your
busy.
multi-layer approach. In terms of last year, what did those 3 days look like for the pupils that you brought in?
So for the Work Plus session that we did last year, it was 3 days focused on, firstly, employability skills, so the 8 essential skills needed to be successful in education, life and work. Personal effectiveness, so thinking about the challenges that employers are seeing when these young people enter the world of work. And we did a huge amount of research in that area to understand what value can we add to the young people, rather than just, traditional work experience when I went to school was you were brought in and you shadowed someone for 5 days, sat aside at their desk and watched them do emails all day. Hugely unentertaining, hugely boring, and really didn't add any value to the young person in the room. So we wanted to make sure that ours were really immersive, but also skills focused, so that the young people went away understanding what that skill looks like in a corporate setting and how they could then use that skill and transfer it to different career routes. So, our 3 days had the employability focus, but also then the skills deep down, in-depth understanding of, in particular, roles within cyber, what skills are needed if you were to go into a legal role, negotiation, having a debate, but also grounding that in fact and backing up what you're saying by research. It was very, very engaging and focused around business case studies. So giving young people real case studies that we have worked on with suppliers, with partners and with customers, and getting them to think about how would they approach that, what would they do, and work on a project and present it back then to the room.
Brilliant. And we saw there through the video, it really did work. Those pupils were saying they didn't realize the breadth of roles they had. And although it's daunting for a young person to stand up and present, it's really important to develop those skills for their future employment. So that's great. In terms of, I know whenever we were chatting, you had mentioned to me that different departments came down for different sessions, and you had different department heads or teams involved within your 3 days work experience. Can you just tell us, I know there's some bigger employers on the call thinking, how do I embed this? How do I get buy-in? Have you any struggles with getting buy-in for other teams, or, how do you sell it to them as being important, really, is the question?
Yes, I suppose there's 2 elements of that. Absolutely is engagement from the offset. So giving those different departments an opportunity to feed in what they're seeing in terms of skills lack. So, for example, we employ 500 new apprentices every September. What we often find is, whilst those apprentices are academically gifted, they lack those basic socialization skills that they need in the workplace, like personal effectiveness and taking control of your day and time management. And that's often where we work with the business units to understand what are the things that you as a manager are spending your time on trying to coach these young people on, so we can give that to them pre-skilling before they join through their work experience. And simple things like personal branding, surprisingly, is the light bulb moment for young people in the classroom when we say to them, how do you think you're perceived when you behave in that way, or you demonstrate that value? And it's where you see them turn from a teenager to an adult in terms of mindset. It's a real pivotal light bulb moment. But engaging those business units from the offset, giving them the opportunity to feed in what is important to their particular area, and then also the showcasing of bringing those colleagues in to talk about a day in the life of their role or a particular case study that we've given that they've worked on. So there is that feedback loop, and then building that network with the young people in the room so that they can have mentors in those specific areas. Having those department heads as the mentors for the young people gives you that then full 360 circle around where they're constantly in touch then with the young person throughout the whole process.
Brilliant. So really just getting their input into what is lacking in their future workforce, and seeing the importance of actually developing those skills as early as work experience to save them time in the future then.
And centralising the programme. So what we found when I first joined the talent management team in Lloyds was every different department in Lloyds Banking Group ran their own work experience programme, which meant there was a total lack of consistency, a lack of message being given. You know, the accountancy team would have their own programme, risk would have their own programme, and we had multiple people across the organisation duplicating effort to try and set up a small group of 10 young people to come in. When we came in and we centralised everything for them, we take away that demand on their time. So they're not having to do, you know, the admin, the safeguarding checks, the background setup. We take all of that centrally, and then their role becomes the subject matter expert to help us shape the content then for the week.
Brilliant. That's great, Grania. Thank you so much. Gordon, over to you. You're a slightly smaller operation there. Can you tell us what size is the team that you're working with?
So yeah, it's a small team. There's 5 of us, including myself. Yeah, small team. We all look out for each other, but hopefully still able to offer you know, a good experience for the young people who come in.
Absolutely. And you were involved in last year as well. So can you give us a little bit of an idea what sort of a program you put together for the young people that you took over the 3 days then?
Yes, so we took on 2 young people, and I guess my approach was really trying to treat them as if they were coming in, as if they were just starting a new job. So we sort of adapted our employee handbook slightly, tailored to them, what information they sort of needed coming in, you know, basic stuff, you know, where we are, how many were in the team, a bit about what we did, and basic things like, you know, starting times, breaks, what we expected of them whenever they sort of arrived in. And that was also then carried through to the rest of the team here. You know, we were treating the young people as if they were just starting a new job, and we were treating them not as if they were just coming out of school. We wanted that sort of level playing field. Everybody was the same, and we were able to offer them sort of trying to offer them real life skills, that they weren't here just for the 3 days. You know, that they could potentially be here for longer.
Brilliant. And what about buy-in from your team? I know we're a team of 5 too, obviously, so you can be juggling a lot of balls throughout your working day. So was there any issues with getting buy-in from your team, or how did you ensure that your team was all involved in that 3-day experience?
Yes, I guess there can be that experience of that it's just it's hassle and it's an inconvenience, you know, the stereotypical kind of things and sort. So yes, we try to get rid of all that and let them know that this is going to be of benefit in the long run. I mean, our main buy-in really for this work experience program was an out of necessity. I mean, Jill sort of already said this, that, you know, employers are finding it difficult to get new people into any sort of industry, and I can definitely say that for us, the events industry is growing, and there just aren't enough people coming into it. So we have had in the past, you know, interns from university and stuff like that, but the need to get people in earlier and sort of plant that seed in their mind for young people to go, this is a career option. So I can explain that to the rest of the team, and then that sort of helped them understand, okay, this is going to benefit all of us in the long run. So that sort of really helped, and everybody was really on board with it, and was you know, really wanting to help young people, the 2 people that came in, and sort of offering their experience, how they got into the business, and what they've learned. And then we really just got into the sort of the details of showing what we do and trying to get them hands-on experience.
Brilliant. And how did you find it? Did the students engage well then? Was there any sort of standout moments for the 2 that you had?
They very, very well. I was pleasantly surprised, actually, and I think that's one of the advantages of this project, is because it links the young people and the right employers together. You know, it's like a job application. You know, you're getting people who want to be there, And I think that's very, very important, because at the end of the day, they're giving up their time, we're giving up our time. So if people want to be there, that's half the battle. So the two young people did, and they came from a media background, and they had I think one of them was did photography, as a hobby, and those things sort of showed me the commitment really to want to be involved in it. So when we seen sort of an interest in sort of camera work and things like that, we then got out some of the cameras that we work with, showed them the range of different cameras there are available, what they do. Now, on the 3 days, unfortunately, there was no actual events on that we were able to take them out on. But it actually then worked out quite well because we were able to give them our time in recreating situations here in the office and in the warehouse of, okay, set that camera up. This is how you do it. Over to you. So they weren't just sitting watching; they were actually able to get hands-on experience, which they really enjoyed, and the feedback we got for them was really good.
Brilliant, yeah, and I think that comes through in the video as well, of that young person just saying how interesting it was, and the great understanding she has of the career. So that's brilliant. Gráinne, same question to you. In the 3 days, or through your experience, is there any sort of standout moments to you? You sort of talked about that aha moment already, but was there anything else for you that was particularly impactful?
Absolutely. So we had one particular fella, he was 16, and on day one he'd been telling us that he was going for his first ever interview that night in Primark in Newtownabbey. And he was really nervous. He didn't know what the interview process was going to look like. We did the personal branding session with him that morning. And we then, sat him down in front of the room of 40 people, bear in mind all of his peers, said to him, what has motivated you to apply for this role? And he was able to bring in his personal brand session in the morning to talk about his ability to show empathy, his ability to be considerate of other people, to think on his feet, to problem solve. And he went into the interview that night and came back the next day to say he was offered the job on the spot. And not only that, the hiring manager that was interviewing him congratulated on him on his personal brand and motivational fit response to the question. So for me, that was a real win-win moment to see this young person who was really, really nervous, and almost not going to go to the interview for his first part-time job, coming in the next day to say his understanding now of his personal brand and who that meant he was and the skills he had helped him secure that job, and he was delighted. So we're definitely getting discount off him when we go to Newtownabbey the next day.
Brilliant. I'm sure after sitting in front of 40 kids, probably going into that interview was no sweat for him.
Yeah,
after
and
that.
this young guy, he actually, I believe he went to an all-boys school, so he was already nervous in our work experience program because there was teenage girls in the room, adult females. He wasn't used to interacting with a group of females and women, so even that for him was a bit of a struggle to kind of get his head around how to behave in that setting. So it was lovely to see at the end of the 3 days how he was totally mingling with everyone, and he was just very relaxed and with a diverse audience.
Fantastic. Oh, that's a great story. Gráinne, just staying with you for a wee second. I've got 2 more questions, and then I'll finish off with the same questions, Gordon. I suppose Gordon's talked about why it's important for his industry to offer work experience. From your perspective, why do you invest in work experience? Why do you think it's important for your industry?
Yeah, so for us, particularly in Lloyds Banking Group, our mission is to help Britain and Northern Ireland prosper. That is our whole purpose behind what we do across our organisation. So when we think about talent management and attraction, and particularly work experience for young people, there's 3 pillars that we look at. So we think about the business priority, the economy, and then the impact on the individual, that young person. When I think about that business element, what we gain from work experience is insight into Gen Z and Gen Alpha expectations of the workplace, because we as an organisation need to adapt to accommodate those young people and help them transition. As a millennial myself, my own approach to work and my work ethic is very different than my 17-year-old son's work ethic and approach to work. He absolutely wants work-life balance. I'll still be sat here at 10 o'clock at night and think nothing of that. So we as an organisation need to tap into those insights, and we only get that through engaging directly with young people. When I think from an economy pillar, we look at skills drain in Northern Ireland. So whilst I work right across all of the UK, I'm hugely passionate about Northern Ireland because I'm based in Belfast. So when I think about the skills drain, we know that 30% of young people in Northern Ireland will go to university in mainland UK. They'll go to Scotland or North East England. And we're predicting that by 2030, that's going to double. So if we want to support our young people, to attract our young people to stay in organisations in the UK and retain that talent, we need to be engaging with them as early as possible to show them that we have fantastic corporate employers, fantastic entertainment employers like Gordon talks about, on our own little island here in Northern Ireland, that they can have these fantastic careers without having to leave us and go across the water. And then from the student perspective, you know, as a young girl from East Belfast Council area, social mobility is hugely important to me. When we engage with those young people externally, they think about Lloyds Banking Group as a contact centre. That's the big building in the gasworks that everybody goes if you can't get a job. But actually what we help them see is the skills build, the potential earnings in those roles. So 40% of the people in that big call centre earn more than all of our MLAs in Stormont. When we share that type of earning potential, young people are kind of blown away and go, oh, you know, I didn't realise that there are jobs within that building that even those in Stormont don't earn that kind of, you know, when we bring it down to earning potential. But from a skills, from an education perspective, apprenticeship programs providing degree apprenticeship opportunities for lower social mobile background with no university fees because the organisation covers it. It's an absolute win-win. And then again, we benefit from the brand advocacy, the customer retention, and then that talent attraction and retention. So it's a win-win for us. It's a no regrets to do this and to reach as many young people as possible, because if they build their skills, whether they work for Lloyds Banking Group or another organisation, that in turn will help our economy prosper.
Fantastic, thank you. And just last question for you, Grania, and then you can breathe easy for a wee minute. I guess I know for a fact there's a few larger organisations on the call that haven't previously organised work experience or got involved with themselves. Have you got any practical advice, you know, whether it's sort of, you know, starting off what they need to think about really from their perspective?
Yeah, so that I suppose for me, the big thing before you even decide what your work experience programme will look like is the safeguarding element. I find often when I speak to other employers in different organisations, they're so excited about the opportunity of having young people in the door that they start to think about, well, what is the session going to look like? What are we going to do? What are we going to have for lunch? Actually, let's take a step back and think about how do you make sure that when those young people come to you, they're safe and secure and protected. And does that mean that we have people that are upskilled as child protection and safeguarding through NSPCC or other parties? Making sure that you are reducing the risk element, because these are minors and we have to engage with them in a certain way, and making sure then that you've covered all of those really important things that often people don't see, because that is often where you can find yourself being caught in difficult conversations if you haven't done the groundwork on those basic things first. When I think about the actual content and the delivery of the sessions, make it as engaging and as fun as possible. If you feel that a guest speaker is speaking for more than 15 minutes, your Gen Z audience has already turned off and looked at their phone. So it needs to be a little bit of content, a little bit of setting up of the session, but then learn through doing. They're there not to be spoke at. They don't want to be in school. They're there to learn and experience. So give them the opportunity to get stuck into an activity and do the do.
Brilliant, that's great, thank you very much. And we're more than happy if any of the organisations are on the call want to talk to us about what that looks like in terms of safeguarding and child protection, then certainly I'm more than happy to pick up with any organisations that want to chat about that after. Brilliant, thank you so much. Grania, Gordon, I guess last question for those smaller organisations on the call that are thinking about taking part in this. Have you any practical tips and advice for those guys?
Yeah, well, I guess the fact that we got involved is to say that it doesn't matter what size the organization is. You've definitely something to give, and hints and tips. I guess just try and give them as much experience as you can. You know, it's not about just that observation, make cups of tea or whatever. It really, you to get something out of it, you have to be engaged with the young people. And yeah, that's all I would kind of say is get involved.
Thank you so much. That's great. Grania and Gordon, I might come back to you if there's some questions pop in later on. So, but for now, thank you both so much for sharing with us. I am just going to go back to sharing my screen now, and just to finish off this little section, just to give you some tips and advice really about how to go about thinking about this. Here's just some things to think about and to summarize what we've just heard from both Grania and Gordon. So the first thing really is, we would ask you to consider, can you offer places not just to mainstream pupils, but also to those special needs schools? We have nearly as many special needs schools interested in placements as we do mainstream. I'm more than happy to pick up with any organisation separately about what that could look like. But just to give you a bit of an idea, last year, unfortunately, the manager from Nando's couldn't make it today. He was going to share a little bit about what he did, but he had some visually impaired pupils in from 11 to 2 every day to help with the lunch preparation and to get a wee bit of insight into the different roles within Nando's. Or alternatively, it could look, some pupils aren't able to go on unsupervised without their classroom assistants to placements. So some schools went out in class group sizes or smaller group sizes with their teachers and their classroom assistants. And that looked like a few hours maybe in the morning or the afternoon, getting a tour of an organisation and having some talks. And again, back to what Gordon and Grania both said about making it interactive for those pupils. An example of what some of those organisations did, we have some hotels that had groups of pupils in setting up and serving their classmate lunches. Starbucks Insurance unfortunately wouldn't allow them to be behind making coffees, but they wanted to be involved. They didn't want to be left out of this opportunity. So they still invited those students to come in. They opened their doors to them. They gave them some hot drinks and they chatted to them about the different job roles and about working from Starbucks and took questions from those pupils. And the pupils absolutely loved it. And as Jill has already said, the feedback that we got from those employers and from those schools just about how impactful it was, both for the employers and from the schools, it was just so meaningful. So again, have a think about that. Are you in a position to be able to offer inclusive opportunities within this? And the QR code that I'm going to share at the end will ask you that, and I can pick up with you then separately about the organisation of that. Secondly, and again, it's already been mentioned, but talk to your team about how to make work experience meaningful. How can you let the pupils leave after the 3 days understanding a little bit more about your industry and the types of jobs that would be available to them? Think about, if possible, even rotating them through different departments, even for a few hours within the 3 days. Third point is to come up with a timetable. So again, very, very obvious, but sit down with your team and talk about what a timetable could look like for those 3 days, so that when that pupil comes in, they know exactly what's happening. And as already been mentioned as well, start off maybe with a tour, introducing them to the team and explaining the timetable to them, just showing them, on Wednesday afternoon, after lunch, you'll be going here and you'll be working with this manager and so on. Just think about how daunting it could be for a 15 or 16-year-old to walk into the workplace, possibly for the first time. And it can be really, really helpful for them to know what to expect each day. I still remember my work experience in the airport. I was there for 5 days at a different department every morning and every afternoon. But at the start, I was given really clear instructions of where to go, where to eat my lunch, who to go to every day. And I genuinely was so excited every day going in there because I knew exactly what to expect and where to go. And speaking of daunting, we would really encourage you to consider taking more than one pupil, because not only does that pupil have company, it also takes a wee bit of the pressure off the team during break and lunch times, because that pupil has somebody to sit with, they have somebody to share the experience with. And it could also mean potentially, Grania's talked on a bigger scale there about giving pupils, a work-based problem. Potentially you could do that even in a small organisation. You could think about maybe a problem, or even just if you have a product that you would like to market to an early talent audience, to a younger audience, get the pupils to work on maybe a marketing plan for that, or rebranding, or whatever it might be. A task might be to fill an afternoon for them, a work-based task that they could present back to you at the end. Because as Granya's already said there, that's also not only showing them an insight into your business, but it's also developing those work-ready skills like presenting, like talking to adults. And if you have 2 pupils or even a small group of pupils, that's a little bit less daunting. And also the quality of work you'll get back will be better because they'll be able to share their skills and share their ideas. And lastly, be flexible. It doesn't necessarily have to look like a 9 to 5 day for those pupils. If you have a team meeting during the 3 days that wouldn't really be appropriate for them to attend, that happens first thing in the morning, it's okay to ask that pupil to come in a little bit later or to perhaps leave a little bit earlier on a day. Just be flexible working with them. In the work experience forms that we'll be sharing, there is the opportunity to specify which days that you want the pupils to come in, or you could pick up with them separately before they come in and just, talk to them about their travel arrangements and if it's possible for them to start at certain times. And maybe they might have to leave earlier if a parent has to pick them up during a school run. That's okay to be flexible with that. Just work with the pupils to make sure that they can attend at a time that suits you and suits them. So that's some of the practical things that you can do at your end, but it's over to us now at Work Plus to tell you how we're going to help you coordinate these placements. Hopefully you will have seen our landing page now, but if you haven't, we will be sharing the links with you at the end of today's webinar. Within our landing page, there will be a timetable of events. And if you're convinced after today you want to take part, then we're going to be sharing the QR code for you to sign up at the end of today's webinar. But for those employers on the call who maybe need a little bit more time, please note that the deadline to sign up is next Friday, the 28th of February. And we'll be sharing that sign up link with you via an email at the end of today's webinar, as well as the QR code. And it's also within our landing page as well within the timeline. We're really delighted and excited this year to be able to host the work experience opportunities within our own Work Plus platform. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second, but from the 18th of March, you will receive a login, and anyone else in your staff team that you want to be involved, we can use we can disassemble multiple logins. You log in and create your organizational profile and your work experience opportunity, almost like what you'd be doing if you were putting out a very, very basic job advert. And again, I'm going to show you what that looks like in reality in a second. Once you create your job opportunity, that's your hard work over. Opportunities will open for application from the 1st of April and will close on the 30th of April. On the 30th of April, the Work Plus team will review those applications and match the pupils who applied to your opportunity. And we'll be looking there for pupils, if there's more than one, and perhaps maybe there's 5 pupils who applied to a business and you've only said you can take 2. We'll read through their application and look for those pupils who have a genuine desire and passion to find out more about your company. Just like Gordon alluded to, he had young people there that had a genuine interest to that industry. This platform will allow us to match pupils that have a genuine interest and desire for future job roles within your industry. So the pupils will then be matched to the opportunities, and we'll send that back to the school to confirm if that pupil's definitely going to attend before we confirm with you, the employer. Then within our platform, all the paperwork will be managed. We had a demo with our software developers last week, and it looks like it's going to be very easy. So we hope it makes it very easy for you to digitally populate and sign the forms that the teachers can then access, and they'll be able to bulk download all of that for their pupils. So hopefully you'll see that we're trying to make all of this as painless as possible through coordinated effort. So the pupils can see your company, but also your opportunities, and apply to those that genuinely interest them, not just relying, as Jill talked about, that young person who was interested in one opportunity but ended up having to go to a beautician's. They'll be ready to reply to opportunities that genuinely interest them and get in somewhere, that not just relying on their family connections. But you as an employer will also be able to profile yourself to all the schools in the area. And you'll have pupils on site that genuinely are interested in your roles and potentially working for you in the future. So you'll see on screen there an example of what this is going to look like for the students. Now, obviously, this is based on our current recruitment campaign, but it will look similar with the same software, but we'll be adapting fields like salary. So that obviously won't feature, but this will give you an idea of what it's going to look like. The pupils will see all the opportunities listed and they will be able to click on more info to find out more information from what you have generated. That will then take them to the home page of that opportunity. So they'll be able to see the location of you as the employer. They will also be able to see more information about the role, which is essentially just, brief information about the 3-day experience that you're going to be offering to them. And then you will also have the opportunity to specify what type of pupil that should apply. So you might put information in there like someone who's interested in working in this industry, or maybe someone who's extroverted and likes to work with the general public, or maybe it's somebody, an accountant's office might say, it would be best suited to maybe someone who studies maths or further maths or so on. You can really put in there what type of a person you're looking for in terms of skills. The pupils then will be able to click on your logo, and that will take them to your profile page where they can see who you are, what you do. And another feature that we're really excited will be added onto this page is the types of roles that you would generally recruit for as well. And this is a brilliant way to be profiled to hundreds of pupils across Antrim and Newtownabbey. Obviously, not all of them will apply to every opportunity, but they now know about you as an employer. They know you exist and they know what types of jobs they could potentially get with you in the future. Then it will really be over to the pupil to create their application and apply to the opportunities that they are genuinely interested in. So just a reminder, I'm going to put up the QR code now to sign in, but please keep the questions going in the chat function. This is the QR code for you to, if you're convinced after today that you want to sign up and commit your organisation to offering a number of work experience placements, then please use this QR code. I just want to say this is the first time we've shared this link. It is a completely different link to registering your interest. This is the link that we will use to issue logins to those companies who have signed up. And as I said, within this link, you'll be able to specify how many mainstream pupils you can offer or how many special needs placements you can offer. That's a type box. So if you want to say, I'd rather talk to you first about this, or we can't offer special needs placements, but we could offer mainstream, then please feel free to type any information on that. It's a very short sign up. There's only 5 questions, I think, altogether. So if you are ready to commit to offering work experience, then please use that QR code to sign up. We will be sharing that link with you at the end of today's webinar. So if you want to go back and talk to the team, that's no problem at all. But just a reminder that next Friday will be the deadline to sign up and offer placements. Okay, sorry, Jill, you want to add to that?
Yeah, thanks so much, Ruth. No, it was just everything to reiterate everything that you said there, but just we really want to focus to employers that accessibility to all. So it's lovely having Gordon and Grania on here, two completely different opposite ends of the spectrum from terms of size of employer. So, we, even for the small businesses who maybe only think they can offer one opportunity, that is as welcome in the programme as somebody who can offer 10 or 100. Because every opportunity in itself is individually so valuable. So we really do want to welcome everybody, every employer from every size to join the programme, and hopefully you'll get as much value as everybody else.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jill. Yeah, that's really important. I see a question there has come in from Stacey. Stacey, I don't have the answer to that question, but I will find out the answer to that question. We're getting a demo of the platform this week, so I should be able to. Stacey's asking there, they already have a login for a Work Plus account because they offer apprenticeship opportunities with us. So I'm not 100% sure. I would imagine your login will stay the same, but I will get back to you on that question. If anybody else has a question before we finish, please feel free to type it in. You're welcome. Hopefully that means that we have had covered everything, and Gordon and Grania and Jill and Stephen has filled everybody in on the basics. So thank you all so much. Thanks to Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough Council for partnering with Work Plus. First of all, we're really excited this year. Really excited to see the sign-ups come in and to be able to offer placements. And Gordon and Grania, we're really looking forward to working with you guys again this year and offering placements. But also thank you both so much for joining us on the webinar today. So yes, thank you everybody.